This is Bruce Bochy, and you're listening to the Ranger Report.
The Ranger Report. Yeah, the Ranger Report. If you want the inside scoop, listen to the Ranger Report. Oh, here we go.
This is the Ranger Report podcast. News, insights, predictions, interviews, and information about the World Series champion Texas Rangers, from the major leagues to the minor leagues. And now, here are your hosts, Ben Dieter, Tyler Nilson, and CJ Berryman.
Welcome to the Ranger Report podcast, brought to you on Fans First Sports Network. We are your Texas Rangers source on Fans First Sports Network, and of course presented by Dallas Sports Nation, and as always brought to you by Walton's everything but the meat, and of course on the Comfort Air online studio. It is for the first time in a while just the two of us tonight. We hadn't done that in a while, just me and CJ. I am Ben Dieter. You can find me on X at BDieter75.
What I call them, the double deuces. Double deuces reunite.
Yep.
CJ Berryman, you can find me at CJB_RR. And yeah, we did have a little bit of a break there. Excuse me. And it was a much needed break for all
of us. Yeah, we took a week off, so hopefully you guys weren't too sad about it.
Well,
but we're coming back with the Monday minor league edition and the every week regular edition. So you'll have two shows a week for us in the foreseeable future. And if I can get my crap together, I'll start doing those series previews again, to those short 6 to 9 minute episodes about each series. Yeah, we'll start hitting those again. I'll try to get Kane in on those too, so you'll hear from three of us on those little series previews, give you guys some stuff to listen to. So anyway, we try to do what we can do to entertain you and also to inform you. So that's what we try to do each week. And I'm going to start this week, CJ, with, let's just face it. I know Jared Sandler talked about it today on the show. So, the Rangers they're statistically eliminated from the playoffs now, right? At 8-6. Okay, so there are some people on Twitter that maybe possibly overreact just a little bit to each game.
No, not on the Twitter or on the X. I'm sorry.
On the X, yeah. But the Rangers just lost their first series, and we talked about this off the air. Sometimes you just face a pitcher that's just got your number, and he was on fire today. JP Sears pitched a great game today.
He did, and we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. JP Sears pitched exactly like Cody Bradford did last night.
Yep.
Same stuff. Change up, fastball, nothing overpowering. But changing speeds, throwing his sweeper in the strike zone, and just there was only one left-handed batter in the lineup today, and that was Corey Seager. Yeah. And so he was extremely effective. This is one where you just tip your cap.
Yep.
You just tip your cap and say, hey, you got us, and go, get on the plane right now, which they're probably in the air right now, and just get ready for tomorrow and just shrug this one off and
head to Houston and get ready for the Astros tomorrow. But to be honest, Seager struck out 4 times, first time since 2017 that Seager had 4 strikeouts in a game. And of course, we'll talk about him later in our What the Tweet segment, because there's some things about Seager that I saw out there today that made me laugh. But Sandler brings up a great point. When the Rangers, they won the World Series last year. So there are fans that have never watched baseball before that are now baseball fans, and they overreact to everything because that's how football works. Football, 10 baseball games is equivalent to 1 football game.
Actually, it's more than that.
Well, if there used to be 16 NFL games, 162.
Now there's 17.
Yeah,
so it's about 10 to 15 games
is one game. One NFL game. So if the Rangers go 0-15, that's like going 0-1 in the NFL.
Yeah, and that would be a cause for concern. This is definitely a cause for concern.
No, they still have a winning record. They're still in first place in the division.
This is the first series they've lost this season.
And again, the bats went quiet because they just ran up against a pitcher who did better than them. And of course, on Monday night, or Tuesday night. I'm sorry. They ran up against a catcher that just decided to score all the runs for Oakland and win that game.
3 home runs, man.
3 home runs in a game.
And he went to Baylor with Cody Bradford
and Davis
Wenzel. So yeah, that was couldn't get him out.
But the Rangers did this last year. We talk about it every year when we talk to you guys about baseball.
We're 13 games in, guys.
Well, and the Rangers at some point are going to have a 10-game losing streak or lose 8 out of 10. That's going to happen at some point in the season.
There's 149 games left.
They're also going to win 12 out of 15 at one point, and that's not going to continue for the whole season either. So with baseball, you just got to remember, take it a week at a time. The Rangers had this week has started. So far, they're 1-3 this week. So far it's a bad start to the week, but they got 3 more games to go. They could finish 4-3 for the week. So it's not over.
That's a good point. Is take it week by week.
Yeah. If you're a new
game by game,
if you're a new baseball fan, the best way to take it is week by week or series by series. Like you said, they finally lost a series. So that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, each series. And then, you can extend beyond that depending on how, series number 1 of the week goes, and you can go from there. But just say, geez, I just no. And these are the defending world champions.
Yep.
And they just lost their first series of the year. And we are 13 games in. Pump the brakes and let's just enjoy this, because guess what? Even without a lot of guys that are going to be high impact players who are high impact players that are on the IL right now, they are still in first place in the AL West. And this is all we could ask for, to be honest. Stay afloat, keep it going, stay in contention until that All-Star break. And
our preseason prediction was if they can just stay above or around 500 by the All-Star break, we felt like they would be okay. And right now, 8-6, they are doing exactly that. They're 2 games over. They're winning games when they're winning and losing games.
7-6.
So sorry, 7-6. Sorry, 7. You're right, 7-6. But they're still above 500, and they have the Astros, who we'll talk about in a minute, coming up next. But I wanted to take a step back to yesterday's game. You mentioned them. I saw a meme today that cracked me up. It showed Peter Parker squinting without his glasses on, and then to his right was Jacob deGrom. Then he put his glasses on, and it was Cody Bradford. So. It reminds me of the Dane Dunning thing when he came in for deGrom last year. Bradford so far, and again, he's not going to pitch this well the whole season. But man, what a start that dude has had to the season.
Well, Bochy has ranted and raved about him since spring training.
Yeah.
And obviously we thought, the number 5 spot is definitely his. Well, Bochy loved it so much. He's your number 2 now. And he showed yesterday why. Everything was in command. He didn't have his first 3-ball count until the 7th inning.
And he's outpitched Gray, Heaney, and Dunning so far this year.
Yeah. And that's saying a lot, and that's no indictment on them either.
No, they haven't been terrible.
No. John Gray today, 9 strikeouts in 5 innings.
That dude, man, how many 1-0 losses does he have with the Rangers now?
It's got to be a record, so we got to look that up. But no, what Cody Bradford's been doing, especially over the last 2 games, going 6+. He almost went 7 last night. He went 7 2/3, I believe, his start before. And dude, he's a dude. That's a guy that you'd love to have in your rotation. Anybody would love to have you in rotation if it continues. Now, once again, he doesn't have a huge sample size, but the track record of success, especially last season and the postseason.
Yep.
And he showed it yesterday, and he's shown it actually all year long. He's not afraid of this moment.
Nope,
at all.
Well, you think about it. You got put in a high pressure situation during the World Series and succeeded. What's a regular season game on a Tuesday night to you at this point?
Yeah, against the A's.
You're just throwing practice, getting ready for the playoffs later this year. And I'm not going to say it's us, but ever since he came on our show, he's really been good. So, I'm not saying that has anything to do with it, but
it's Cole Reagans came on the show a couple times, and
he's up for the Cy Young right now.
Look what he's doing right now. So Cole's a good friend of the show. I've texted with him a little bit.
He is, and he's having a heck of a season, man.
And he loves it that we're keeping track of him, and he's going to come on again. Hopefully during the All-Star break when he's right now. If he keeps doing what he's doing,
he'll be at the All-Star game. Yeah.
Might be opening the damn All-Star.
He keeps playing like he is now, that's for sure. And since you like to geek out on pitching, I know we also need to talk about Jose Urania and Jake Latz, who, good gracious, what a great start to the season they've had.
Jake Latz looks amazing.
He looks like he did in Frisco when we saw him, and we said he was going to be the guy to watch.
Yes, back in 2021. Damn, I got to do this. Alexa, shut up. All right. Jake looks fantastic. Back in 2021, I mean, we pegged him as a guy. Everybody was watching Cole win, but all of Jake's numbers were matching right up with Cole.
Yeah.
In fact, it was a two-headed buzzsaw because they had them pitching back-to-back in the rotation in Frisco, and it was lights out. I mean, you're not hitting jack shit.
Nope.
And so you're seeing what we were seeing a few years ago with Jake Latz, and he looked calm. And everything he's throwing, curveball, getting ahead with the curveball, 96, 97 mile an hour fastball, the slider, the change, everything looks phenomenal. He almost had an immaculate inning tonight.
Yeah. And, well, it was one of the three Daves. I don't remember which one, either Raymond, Bally, or Murphy. One of the three of them said that you have to have a little bit of arrogance to make it. You have to feel like you belong here and believe that you belong here. And watching Latz at this point, I feel like he believes he belongs here, and it's showing right now.
Yeah, when he takes the mound, he looks like hey, I'm not coming at you.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, you're not coming at me. I'm coming at you. Get ready for this. And that demeanor and all that, it's gonna take him a long way. I mean, this is a guy that can potentially in the future be a starter. I mean, he was a starter all the way through the minors, so he's kind of setting that precedent. And maybe him and Cody Bradford, because obviously they were teammates in a couple times, and I think a couple times in the minors, and they're kind of feeding off each other, just like Wyatt Langford and
Evan Carter.
Evan Carter do the same thing. And so we're in such a good spot as Rangers fans, and I want Rangers fans to hear this.
Yeah.
It's not time to go nuclear. It's time to look at the positives and seeing what's coming out of missing all these guys and who's coming in. And look at Josh Smith, man.
Yeah. I was going to mention him. I mean, I was an advocate of cutting him from the team when spring training was over. And now look at him out there. Like, he is, as far as his defense goes, his defense is incredible. And then offensively, like, where did this come from? The dude had 15 RBIs last year. He already has 7 this year.
Yeah. And they changed his stance.
Yeah.
He's more in a crouching position, and I guess to him that's allowing him to see the ball better and to slap the ball better.
Yep,
because he's hitting the ball situationally better than I've ever seen him.
Exactly,
taking outside pitches to left field or pulling it over. I mean, just hitting it where they are not. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So he's reading the field so well, and whatever they did to change his batting sense, get him crouching down a little bit further, it's worked. And he looks really good. And so you just never know. And of course, Jared Walsh, what a signing that was. That's going to be a question whenever Lowe comes back.
By the way, Lowe is going on a rehab assignment starting Friday in Frisco. Yep.
Yes. And so that's great news. I mean, so you got a log jam in the major league level, and it's a good problem to have. So we'll see how that transpires. But right now, as I said, was it last night or 2 nights ago? There's nothing. I'm not worried about any part of this team right now.
No. And like I said, even though they lost the series of days, and you said you didn't see this, but there was a weird double play that even after the game,
you weren't explaining it to me.
Yeah. Even after the game, the A's manager said that he thought that turned the game. Like, he thought, he said that was probably the turning point of the game, because the Rangers had 2 on with 1 out, and they had the big bats at the plate, and then the ball's popped straight up in the air, right by the pitcher's mound. No one was sure who was going to catch it. And the second baseman comes sliding in, and it hit him in the chest and it popped out. Then the pitcher threw it to third for 1 out, second for the other out. They did not call the infield fly rule because they said that it has to be something like a usual catch. Like it's something that, everyone.
Look, that's the last time I looked in the dictionary. A pop-up is a usual catch on the infield.
Just because you played it bad doesn't mean it's an unusual catch.
No. So they should have called infield fly immediately. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
And the runners are expecting it. It's a pop fly right there in front of the pitcher.
Yeah.
And that was.
I was unhappy.
The umpiring has been pretty bad.
And we haven't even seen Angel Hernandez on a Rangers team yet.
And I don't want to see what he's going to bring. But
some of the strike zones this year have been interesting, to say the least.
Well, the one on Sunday night was terrible on both sides. I mean, really.
Yeah. The thing was, though, is I did say, I think on Twitter on Sunday night, is that he was terrible both ways. It wasn't like he was giving one team an advantage.
Did you know that he had since they started grading umpires? He had, I can't remember how long it's been since they've been doing that.
Been at least 5 years, if not more.
It's been more than that.
Yeah.
But he had the 4th lowest rating ever.
Yeah, his accuracy was something like 87%, which is, everything's in the 90s. You don't see 80%.
No.
It was bad.
Strikes were balls, balls were strikes. But anyway, we're not going to sit here and bitch about the umpires.
No, any game the Rangers lost, the umpire wasn't the reason. Even if there was a bad call or two, the umpires weren't the reason. The Rangers have been outplayed a couple of games, and that happened. So I think, again, I'm not disappointed. 7-6 is a start. You told me, in January that the Rangers would be 7-6 after 2 weeks. I would have told you, all right, I'll take that.
Without Josh Young.
And also, without Josh Young, without Josh Spores, with Josh Smith in there, without Nathaniel Lowe, and you tell me, oh, by the way, we're gonna be 7-6. So
yeah, I'd be totally cool with it. I'd be freaking out a little bit if he told me that in January. I'd be like, what the hell? Yeah,
but I'd still take it over maybe the other Texas team's record at the moment.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
So today the Astros gave up 9 runs. No, wait, that was in the first inning that the Astros gave up 9 runs. The final of that game was 13-3. So, okay, here's something that got me. Did you see on Twitter? You probably didn't, or on X, that the Astros have blocked like 400 and something of their own fans.
I'm not surprised.
Because apparently they're being like torched by their own fans for their start. But, again, and here's my take. I may be completely...
Houston turn into New York.
Yeah. It happened
when they won a World Series.
When they won a World Series and then acted like nothing happened when they got caught. And here, I don't want to go into the cheating thing. But anyway, here's the deal, though. I still believe the Astros are one of the best teams in the American League.
They are.
Even with this start. Teams have bad starts. 2011, I think it was, the Rangers started terribly. And they wound up making it to the World Series that year. So I'm not throwing in the towel on the Astros. I'm not laughing at them or making fun of them. It's a bad start for sure. They look bad. I'm hoping we can take advantage of that this weekend because they're playing bad right now. Because I have a feeling later in the season, they're going to be raking like they always do.
Royals whip their asses, and that's
the whole. But the Astros have always had trouble with the Royals over the last few years. You remember last year coming down to the end of the season, they had a 4-game series with the Royals and the Royals swept them. It seems like the Astros, that's their Achilles heel. Well, we can't beat the A's.
Because they got Cole Reagans over there in Kansas City. So,
but no, it's a rough start, but I still believe that the Astros and Rangers are going to battle it out for first place in the division. I don't think they're going to finish last.
Still a team that's going to be in contention. Come down now, the wire.
If they wind up being like 12-35, then talk to me about it. They're not a good team anymore. But in 2 weeks, I see them being 500 or right under it. They're going to be right there. They're not going to continue losing, 3 out of every 4 games. That's not going to happen.
No, they're too good for that.
They're too good. Their pitching is a little banged up, and that's part of it. Their bullpen has been bad, but all they need is for that bullpen to turn around. And obviously not to give out 9 runs in the first inning, but
that's going to be the key to this series coming up, Ben. right there is how much the bullpen had to get used today.
Yep.
By Houston, because 9 runs in the first inning.
Their starter only lasted 2/3 of an inning.
Yeah, so watch for some moves that they're going to have to make tomorrow to call some minor leaguers up, and just to get some relief out of the bullpen, because their bullpen's going to be spent coming in, and this is not an offense. You wouldn't think that today, but again, tip your cap to the Oakland pitcher for doing what he did today. But this is not a lineup that you want to come in struggling with fatigue, endurance, and longevity, because they will kill you.
Yep. All right, we are going to take a short break. When we come back, we will look at that series that the Rangers are about to play against the Astros. You're listening to the Ranger Report podcast. All right, welcome back to the Ranger Report podcast on the Comfort Air online studio, Fans First Sports Network, and all of our sponsors, Walton's. I like to say Walton's all the time because they are our longest sponsor. As we said, they've been supporting us. Stuff. Yeah, and they've been supporting us forever, and I use their stuff on everything. No joke, I really do. I'm not just saying that. Like I said, we don't talk about things that we don't believe in, or we're not just doing this for money, obviously, because we're both poor, but we're doing it because we love doing it, and we're thankful for our sponsors that we do have. So let's look forward to this series against the Astros. So on Friday, which we're recording this on Thursday, so that's tomorrow night. On Friday, you have Dane Dunning, 1-1 with a 4.15 ERA against JP France, 0-1 with a 4.76 ERA. France, just like Dunning, has had a couple of bad innings, but pitched pretty good overall. So again, it's just the Astros have fallen into a lot of bad luck. So this game ought to be a pretty decent game on Friday night.
Well, Dane's actually looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Throughout,
it was the 3-run home run. That 3-run home run. It was
that 3-run home run that he gave up. That's the only scar, really, if you look at it in the whole picture, the whole scope of things with how he's pitched this year. That's his only blemish. He's looked great. He's had his changeup that's a strikeout turned into a strikeout pitch. He's looping in the curveball sometimes to get ahead, and his slider looks great. And his two-seamer, his sinker looks phenomenal. And it's only 90 miles an hour, 90-91. And so it's kind of Colby Lewis-esque is what he's reminding me of. And, he's not going to go out there. He might give up some home runs, even though he's got ground ball stuff. He is more of a ground ball pitcher. But sometimes when you leave one of those breakers up, and it'll get smoked, or if you go too far into the well with the changeup or the two-seamer, the sinker, guys pick up on, and they kind of get used to where you're throwing it. But that 3-run homer that he gave up was late too. It wasn't.
It was.
He was pitching phenomenally up to that point.
Yep.
So I'm not concerned about him, and you can say the same about France. You can say the exact same.
You can. So
that's going to be an intriguing matchup to see which comes in locked in, which one has jitters or whatever.
Yep.
Finding the zone, whatever the case may be. That's going to be a good pitching matchup. I look forward to that one.
I do too. All right, the Rangers were almost hit twice in 1 week. Once by Houston, once by Oakland, and both broke up by Adolis Garcia, by the way, which is funny. But
he's hitting 294 right now.
Yeah. Speaking of the guy that almost hit them, Saturday they had to face him again in Blanco. He is 2-0 with a 0.00 ERA.
And only one hit allowed.
Only one hit allowed on the season. Going up against Heaney, who is 0-2 with a 7.56 ERA. Now, don't freak out about that, because Heaney's pitched well again. He had a couple of bad innings. He put some players on, then got taken out of the last game. And I can't remember who came in to replace him, but he gave up I think, were the bases loaded or just 2 on? But
I think it was 2 on, but
and he gave up both those runs. So
and what happened there is Heaney should have been out of the inning. Jared Walsh,
that's right.
The crappy ass stadium that they have there.
Right. Yeah,
pop up down the first baseline. Walsh had it, and he lost it in the ceiling, and so it landed, and then they pulled.
That started that rally. Yeah,
it started the rally. Heaney was hit with some runs that were left on base that the Rangers bullpen could not stop from scoring. And so, the ERA looks inflated. It's not indicative of the way he is looking. And by the way, I want to kind of go back to Dane Dunning. Do you know he's learning? He's working on throwing a forkball.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. And Heaney has actually brought the curveball back.
Yep.
So when he was with the Dodgers, they pretty much scrapped that pitch because they were like, "It sucks, man. You're getting killed every time."
Yeah.
Well, he did. He scrapped it last year, and just was a 3-pitch pitcher. Now he's out there throwing that curveball for strikes, down 1-0 or to get ahead in the count again. I feel like I'm repeating myself with that, but curveball to get ahead in the count, get an 0-1 count, or come back after a 1-0 and loop the curveball in there, get a 1-1, and then start, using his natural stuff. The changeup, slider, the fastball, sneaky fast, especially coming from his arm angle. And he looks really good this year. Now, Blanco, that's going to be the problem. How do you solve that, Ben?
Well, here's the deal. If you do, when you start a season as well as he did, you're bound to have a bad day at some point. And I'm hoping that this will be his bad day. Some of the Rangers have some pretty good batting averages against Blanco overall that have faced him before. Let's see. Let me go down here. I was just looking at it. Jankowski actually bats .333 against him. So
he'll be in the lineup.
Look for Jankowski to be in the lineup. Tavares is .333 against him. Jared Walsh is .250 against him. Simeon is .286 against him. And everyone else, not so much. So everyone else is in the 2s, the 1s, or the 0s against him. So
probably see Josh Smith, as many lefties as you can possibly.
Well, of course, you look at Carter, who was 0 for after that game still for the season, who has now turned it on. So I can see Carter getting some hits in that game. Davis Wenzel probably won't get in that game, but that ought to be a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they can solve them, I think that'll be a high scoring game.
Yeah. If they can just figure out a way to scratch out, because they worked the count on him early. That's why he left in the 7th.
Yeah.
After giving up the hit to Adolis, because the pitch count was high, and because the Rangers made him throw, I think it was 45 pitches in the first 2 innings.
Yep.
So work that count. And wait for him to make his mistake and then capitalize on it. Now that they've seen him once this year and seen how, him and his changeup, it's fastball, fastball. And his changeup is crazy good.
It is crazy good.
But now that they've seen it and they kind of got a beat on his pitch sequencing, work the count, make him come to you and scratch a couple runs out and get him frustrated. That way the mistakes start coming. You know what I mean? I do.
And that's what they need to do. They need to get to him early. And if they can rattle him a little bit, I think they have a good chance. All right. Sunday is 1:00 start.
This one's going to be a good
Nathan Eovaldi, 1.45 ERA against Javier, 1.10 ERA. And here's the thing that gets me. The Astros are 4-10. Listen to these ERAs that we're saying. Their starting pitching is not the problem.
No.
Their starting pitching is doing a really good job. The worst one we read was a 4.45 ERA, which is still respectable in Major League Baseball, especially just 3 starts in. So we're looking at, 2 guys with a sub 150 ERA going against each other. Eovaldi has 19 strikeouts on the season. Javier has 13 strikeouts on the season. This is not going to be a high scoring game.
No, I bet you this game's over within 2.5 hours.
Yeah, 220, something like that.
220, somewhere around there. Eovaldi, man, we can't say enough about him. What a workhorse! What a dude!
And by the way, he should not pitch to Yordan Alvarez.
Nobody should.
Do you know what Yordan Alvarez's OPS against Nathan Eovaldi is?
I'm going to guess it's 1,300.
1953.
Oh my God.
His batting average is 714 against Nathan Eovaldi.
Yeah, just throw nothing but split fingers low.
Don't even do that, because if you mess up, he'll hit a home run. Just intentionally walk him every time he comes to the plate.
Alvarez is a Ranger killer right now, man.
Dude, wow, 714 against Eovaldi.
That home run he hit the other night. The one that almost hit the second deck in right field, which in the old ballpark that was normal.
Yeah.
In the new ballpark, the stands in the first row or first level are much deeper. He nearly hit the damn second.
Yeah, before Statcast said it, I guessed 6'10" on that one.
Yeah, I did too, but it ended up being like what 470.
Yeah,
like
it was amazing. And also, by the way, Jose Altuve is 345 against Nathan Eovaldi. But you know what? He's another one. Jose is a thorn in our side whenever we play the Astros. You know what? I know people don't like him and all that, but I have a lot of respect for that dude. He is a hard working ball player.
Yep. I mean, you got to be when you're that small. And
well, he is. I mean, he plays.
I started respecting him back whenever he first came up. I was like,
I did too. I loved him when he first came up.
Back when the Astros sucked.
Yeah, but he played like they were a championship team back then.
Kind of laid the ground there. He's their foundation.
He is. But anyway, this ought to be a good game. If Eovaldi doesn't pitch to Yordan Alvarez, this ought to be a pretty good game.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll tell you what, though, that's another guy. I mean, if you could steal one player from another team to bring to your team, I would steal Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah. I mean, take the guy that's killing you every time you play him. He's pretty. If you look at last year in the playoffs, who was the one that was really doing the damage against the Rangers?
It was Yordan and Jose Altuve. Yeah,
and Altuve, those two.
Yep.
And yeah,
it's just. I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, I think low scoring game. But Eovaldi, I think Eovaldi has their number except for those two guys. He pitches really well against that lineup. Other than number 2 and 3 in that lineup, he pitches really well.
We know that Adolis loves hitting in that ballpark too.
He does, and we did own them in the playoffs in Houston last year, so hopefully that continues. But anyway, I think this is going to be a great game. I think it's going to be low scoring. The Rangers should win the series. Hopefully they sweep it, but I'm not going to gamble. I'm not going to gamble on a sweep. 2 out of 3, I'd be thrilled. Because again, like I said, and you also agree, the Astros are not the team we've seen so far.
Nope, and you got to take advantage of it right now.
You got to take advantage of it while they're down, because later in the season they're going to be raking against everyone like they always do.
And that's why I'm saying that start with excuse me, with my throat being all messed up.
That's all good.
The start with Blanco. If you can somehow get to their bullpen before the 5th inning, which the Rangers are commonly known as doing, then you're putting more stress on Javier too in that next start to go deep, because the bullpen right now of the Astros is shot.
All right, let's move on to what the tweet before we wrap it up.
Oh, here we go.
Because I saw
bringing back what the tweet. All right,
I saw one today that I had to say something about. So the simple tweet is, we need to talk about Seager.
What about
there was a response. Well, there's a response that says he's washed.
Oh,
and then
there's
another response under here that says not worth his contract.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to be somewhat civil here.
All right.
I won't cuss. I'm just going to be calm.
Now, the thing is, we don't know. This could be tongue in cheek. I don't know. I'm just going off the tweet.
Well, you can't tongue in cheek on Twitter and make it.
No, you
Twitter
can't.
is a place where you can't tongue in cheek and not make sure that people know you're being tongue in cheek.
Exactly.
So, no. Okay. So Seager didn't have a spring training. He's pretty much going through spring training right now.
Yep.
During the regular season, and he's washed. Yeah, he's only got 1 home run.
Yep.
So be it. Still hitting over 300.
Yep.
He's hitting 311, 400 slug. He's got 5 ribbies, 6 walks, which Seager doesn't walk usually, but yeah, he's got 6 walks and a double. I mean, come on. The guy did not have any spring training at all.
Dude,
yet now he leads the club in batting average.
Yeah, he can still get his hits, and that's the thing too with Carter. I know I'm going off a little bit, but he led the league in walks while he had a 0 batting average. So
he's not like 9 walks right now. 9.
Yeah,
full count Carter, man.
All right, so here's another one. This was a response to Jared Sandler's game over tweet. Rangers fall 1-0 to the Athletics. Someone said, to lose 2 out of 3 from Oakland in that fashion we did, we're going to get swept by the Astros this weekend.
Oh, good God.
Which Jared's response was, Houston just got swept by Kansas City in even more embarrassing fashion. But
I was about to say that. And then again, The Rangers got swept to end the season last year in Seattle. It was
3 out of 4. Yeah, they only won one. And who won the World Series?
And who's the World Series? Who has a major league record 11-0 on the road? Oh yeah, that'd be the Rangers.
Yep.
Y'all chill out, man. Quit giving us content, even though we love it to talk shit about on here. But
yeah,
geez,
I'm telling you what, I mean, I understand there's a lot of new fans out there that don't follow baseball until this year, which is fine. We'll take them. We like the new fans, but they do tend to overreact. And then there's just people that love to overreact to everything. And then there's people trolling. You never know who's who, but they're still fun. These fun tweets are still fun to read and make fun of. You never know. But Sandler had a great, I mean, I got to say the best, and this isn't baseball related before we go, but I saw a tweet yesterday. I don't know who everyone knows who's Chip and Joanna Gaines are. Do you know who they are? HGTV. They do a lot of house remodels. They had a show.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he said something and someone tweeted back to him, who the blank is Chip Gaines? And his response was, ask your mom.
Dude, Jared is so good with his comebacks.
That was Chip Gaines.
Oh,
that answered like that. Yeah. It was hilarious because he basically said, because those are the people that watch HGTV, so your mom would know who I am. But he made it sound like it was a terrible comment. It was hilarious.
It was, but anyway, Sandler's comebacks are great.
His are always
post game when people get on there and rant and rave. I'll never forget the Cole Hamels thing.
Oh yeah,
ever. I was on my way home from Austin. Yeah, we were in a game and listening to the post game, and Sandler went off.
Yeah,
I mean, went off.
Well, today when he actually asked Matt and Eric to explain why the Rangers weren't statistically eliminated from the playoffs yet at 7-6.
Very tongue in cheek that Sands is.
That's why we love him here on the Ranger Report podcast.
Good friend of us.
All right. Well, that will wrap it up for this evening, you guys. We will be back on Monday with a minor league edition. We will open up talking about the 4 teams, how they're doing so far, who to look for this year, who might get called up, all that good stuff.
I get to do my pitcher and you get to do the hitter.
By the way, just to let you know, when Josh Young went down, I tweeted that the Rangers were either going to call up Justin Foscue or Davis Wenzel. Boom. They call up both of them.
Well, Foscue had to get her.
I know, but they still. So we know what we're talking about. That's all I'm trying to say. We know what we're talking about.
Foscue's friend of the show, and he loves Amarillo.
He does love Amarillo. All right, that will wrap it up for tonight. Thank you guys for listening, and we are going to drop.
We're gonna go double deuces this time.
Oh, double. Okay.
Drop.
Thanks for listening to the Ranger Report podcast. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, and at therangerreport.com.